Greetings, brothers and sisters. So, today's Saturday, October 4th. I just answered a few questions and some kind of bird chirping outside our window here. And maybe a squirrel, I don't know. My dogs are interested in it. But it's late here, almost 8 o'clock. And I just did a voiceover. I just chased our little chicks into our coop. And we have a broody mama, and I had to, my wife and I are transitioning them to move over to the big coop with the other chickens, and that's the whole thing. A little bit out of breath. But, before that, I brought my dogs out one last time before it got dark. And you can't ever get the truth from people who are themselves deceived. And we all are, right? And so there are deceivers who know, at least they know what they're lying to you. They're consciously lying to you. They're consciously creating manipulations, psychological operations. They know that what they're doing is wrong, and they're just lying about it. They see the truth is about to come out. For example, Jeffrey Epstein, and they get in a room together and they come up with a plan to stop it from coming out. So there's so many people who know that Trump is complicit with Jeffrey Epstein. Whatever evidence there is on Trump, they know about it. Maybe they didn't know about before the election, Pam Bondi, some of these other people. But the information crosses their desk, and they realize this. And the Trump administration, there are some people who know about it, for example, and are purposefully lying. And that's not what I'm talking about here. Because, but this also applies to those people. Because what they're doing is what they've taught their whole life to do. And that is when you get caught doing something like this, you deceive, right? Which in itself is a deception, a self-deception. But the worst kind of people who are lying are the ones who don't know they're lying and they believe in what they're saying. That's all the dumb fucks out there who believe in Trump. Some people can see through some of his bullshit, but they're in denial about that. But the ones who actually just believe in it. And when you've been indoctrinated and you've been warped in some kind of way, there's some kind of weird shit that's going on in your family or your village or things that are, crazy by most people's standards. And everyone has something like that. And you just believe things that aren't true about life, about your orientation to life, about, there's a great video out there. I showed it to my wife. There was one of my viewers sent it to me. And this woman is like at her wit's end, and she's overwhelmed with all the housework she has. And he says, well, don't worry. Her husband goes, don't worry about it. We have this magic table. And she goes, what? He goes, yeah, no matter what I leave on this table, I'll leave a big mess on this table, and I come back the next morning, it's completely clean. Right? His wife's like, are you shitting me? He goes, no, here. Leave your laundry here on the floor, and somehow this magic table will wash it and dry it for you, and then fold it up, and like all this kind of stuff, right? It's great. It's just a brilliant thing. Speaking of which, I hung some sheets up on the line. I have to go get them. Okay, so I put up like a kind of a spinning laundry thing up there, so we could have our sheets and things. Anyways, not important. And I went out there, and the mother and two of the chicks were in one nest box, and the other two chicks were in the other. I got one of them out. The other one jumped outside, and I just chased it around for like fucking half an hour. And it's fast, and it's scared, and it's... Anyway, I got it, and it's in there. Guys, into the hen house. Took me a while. And there's that one guy. Got one motherfucker right there. This one motherfucker just always runs through the trees. Never keeps up with the rest of them. So he's fucking hiding around. Gotta chase it all around that fucking hen house. Hopefully it'll jump in with the rest of them. See, look, it's going all the way far. Okay, so this is Sunday, October 5th. And I want to clarify what's going on with this thing and why I chose to include it in this beginning of this video. So we've had these these broody chicken and her 4 chicks. It's been about a month, and after a while, the broody mama just says, "Hey, I don't want to deal with you guys anymore," and they're done. Their mother-child relationship is completely over. They're very close. She spends most of her time teaching she's talking to her children most of the time, right? It's most of her her waking hours, even her sleeping hours, they sleep under her feathers. I mean, they're very close. And then after about months, she's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm just tired of you guys," right? Which is an interesting parenting model, but we should give it but it's they're about a month old, and then they're not quite chickens. Like, it takes them a couple months to be fully grown, 3 months, 5, depending on the type of breed. But during that period of time, the chicks get pretty big, and she's actually a smaller chicken, and they can't sleep so well under her feathers as well, especially she might have up to 10 or 12 or even more than that. Usually they lose some along the way because they're predators and things around. On a farm, they're better protected, but in the wild, they're not going to all make it, right? But this is more about how God helps me in life, how doing the Sajmark meditation helps me in life. So I throw food out. I have some leftover. I make kasha grain every day for breakfast, and I throw that out with some other things. We have some leftover oatmeal, which the chickens have really been liking, and if we have some watermelon from the day before, I throw what's left of the watermelon out. And sometimes we have mealworms and things, and I throw out this food to the chickens, and sometimes leftovers that we have from the fridge or whatever, and they all come over. Now we have the older chickens. We have 2 who were 2 golden Wyandottes that we had from a recent back this in April. We had a bunch of chickens, and only 2 survived, and then we have 10 mid chickens and a couple of guineas that are in there, guinea fowl. So we have all these groups of chickens, and then the mother with her chicks. And there's 3 chicks that are always, there's one that's out in front of everyone. She's one of 2 Americanas that lay green or blue eggs, and they might look different. They don't always look the same. And one is dark. They have the same patterns. One is gold and one is dark brown. And then we have 2 astrolorps, and they started off part black and part yellow, but now they're turning pure black. Eventually they'll be black with green iridescence. And one of the first chickens we had years and years ago, when I first had chickens, was an astrolorp, but she was just a great chicken. We've had these multiple times in our, you can buy these chickens at Tractor Supply, or my wife orders them at My Pet Chicken, and so we've had astrolorps. So they're actually 2 good breeds. One's going to lay green or blue eggs, and the other ones are good, hardy, sturdy chickens. But one of the astrolorps, I noticed yesterday, every time I threw food out, the little chicks would run. I throwing stuff over their heads, and some of it's landing on them. But this one chicken was hiding in the bushes next to where I was throwing, next to the house. And I realized that there was this little astrolorp that's always behind the other ones, and the mom's always having to get it. And whenever there's a noise, it runs for the fucking bushes. Now there's been a month of this, and I knew that there was one that's sort of always a little bit behind the other ones, but I didn't really think about it. But I really noticed it yesterday, right? And so it's important because I took notice of it. Now I'm like, oh, that fucking chicken's always running for the bushes, and it's causing problems. Because the mother has the other 3, and then she has to go back and get that one. And it should be finding safety with her. It should be running towards her. Once in a while, she'll leave them in the bushes and tell them to stay there. And then she'll, be out, if there's a predator or something like that. But other than that, they should be with her, right? But this one's always running off. And so it was important for me to know this, because my wife and I are taking them out of we have this old well house that they were in. It's a secure place, and they, I've showed the picture before of that. This is a picture. Put a picture up here of them being like cozy with her in the corner. And we took her out of there. We're putting her in the big hen house because eventually she's going to abandon them. They need to be going into that hen house or, the other one. So, it's just a transition. And when I went to transition them, this one wouldn't go into the fucking hen house, and it was pissing me off because, it's going to die if it doesn't get it, right? Like the hen house is safe. I mean, she'll get pecked by the other chickens, a little bit because they're smaller, but it's predator free. But the bushes aren't predator free, and if she doesn't go in and the door closes, at sunset, we're going to end up having to put her in every night. And then when the mom abandons them, she's going to have to learn how to survive, and she can't be running for the bushes all the time. And so it was good that I noticed this chicken, like it registered to me, because you go through the day, and I mean I've had chickens for years, and they sometimes I pay attention to them, but it's not whatever, they're just there, right? And so I'm interested in chicken behavior, and I look at it, but then me noticing this one chicken was important because she wouldn't go into the big hen house, and I got her into the big hen house, like the first video clip that I'm showing here for those people watching on video. I'll try to remember to make a video clip so it'll also be in the Journey series. I'll follow this voiceover, and so I'm like swearing at the thing because it's not doing what it should do for its own safety, right? And it's just it keeps on running away, and the mother's following it, like and the other one of the chicks comes out who was already in the hen house to. Because they're all kind of together, they're flock, and it hears the chickens, it's sibling in distress, and it comes out. I'm like, shit, I got two out. So it's causing all kinds of problems. And so I put them in there. The mom goes on the roost. We have 2 sets of roosts, and there's 8 full-grown chickens in there, and she used to be with them. So she gets into the roost. Last night we put them in, and she went into a nest box, and we have some bigger nest box. She was in one of the bigger nest box, sleeping with the chicks. And so I I saw she was on the roost, and one of the chicks was up there with her. The other 2 are running around, squeaking and having a spaz. But I come back later, and she's in a nest box with 2 of them, and the neighboring nest box, so they jumped up on the wrong nest box, is the one that's a problem in another one. And so I go outside and open the nest box, and I grab the one chicken, but the one that's the problem jumps out, and now it's fucking dark out, and I'm chasing that one around. And so, but it was good that I registered that one, and I'm like, well, if you don't get with it, you're going to die. Because once the mom isn't there for it, it has to be on its own. It can't be running and sleeping outside at night because it doesn't want to go in because, we have raccoons and possums and other predators that come through every night, and, possibly coyotes. And so, it's not going to survive, right? It's just owls and things like this. They can't sleep outside. They just fucking can't. Sometimes they'll sleep in the trees. We had a guinea that was slept in a tree one night, a guinea fowl. But, it's not a long-term successful plan because they can't see shit at night. So a nighttime predator will get the chicken because the chicken won't really do anything when it's dark out, when some of these other predators have, basically night vision, right? And the chicken's just sitting there that's how we catch them. We wait till the chickens, if we have to do anything to the chickens, sometimes my wife wants to put this stuff on they get these mites on their legs, and we apply this stuff to their legs, and we just go into the hen house at night and we just grab them off the roost. It's so much easier than chasing around trying to catch them. But anyways, so that's what's going on here in the video. But I want to point out this thing where it wasn't an accident that I noticed this one chicken in the morning, and then it became something that I realized, oh, this is going to be a problem when I had to deal with it. I chased it through we have an old barn, and I had to chase it into the corner. It was a pain in the ass. Catching chickens is not easy, especially when they can run under things and whatever it is. Anyways, let's get back to it here. They drew this other little white one out. If they go hide in the bush, I won't be able to find them. It gets dark. So the mother's calling it. It won't go into where it's supposed to fucking go in. Okay, here it goes, maybe. Jesus Christ. All fucking came out. And that one just won't go where it needs to go. There we go. There we go. Holy shit. Fucking miracle. All right. Okay, you guys. Okay, so the chicken door is closed. I left my light in there so they have enough light to get up there. I'll come back and get that. She's on the roost. Hopefully they all get up there with her. She's over here. One of them's up there with her. Two of them are up there with her. Two of them under here. So, but I mean, so hopefully, oh, she's going up top. That's a mistake. She's all the way up there. Anyways, she's all the way here at least. I caught this chicken. Nightmare. Like, let's get it in here. We're gonna put it in the okay, grab a couple of eggs here. That's that. They're all in here. Holy shit, was that unpleasant. Another egg over here. I should have got these earlier. Alright, so they're kind of transitioned in here. Here are the other chickens. It's not that many in here. Here are the two new ones. Okay, hopefully she's... At some point she'll just... These guys will be on their own. Hopefully they get in the habit of coming in here, because that one is not going to make it. So anyways, I included that because that's what was going on with me while I was doing this voiceover. And my wife was driving one of our kids somewhere, so it was, if two people would have been better, but it was just this thing that happened. And so, you know, that one chicken is going to have to learn to, you know, adapt. And when you let fear dominate your existence, it's good to be scared because they, you know, chickens are, you know, taste like chicken, right? Everything wants chickens. Like everything goes after chickens, every predator. And the chicks are, you know, they're small and vulnerable. And we had some predators here. We had a hawk and a kestrel come through their yard. The kestrel got some of the previous, you know, the older mid, what we call the mids. My wife calls these the little naturals, and then we have the being raised by the mom, and then we had 10 chickens. It used to be 13, and 3 of them got taken by predators. So, you know, the chicks are, you know, vulnerable. 2 were definitely taken by a kestrel. 1, I think, was a guinea that just wandered off because he was stupid. Like, but I'm including this because I'm doing this voiceover, and, you know, this thing's going on while I'm, you know, trying to get the voiceover done. But let's get back to it here. Okay, so getting back to what I was saying here. So it's a lot easier to tell if somebody is lying when they know they're lying and, you know, they're just lying. But when somebody believes in their own bullshit and they believe in what they're doing, it's a lot harder. People who can convince themselves through rationalization and believe in what they're doing, even when some part of them knows it's lying, you know, those people are, it's a lot harder. And, you know, you can't ever get the truth out of people who are deceived because they don't know the truth. I mean, maybe on some deeper level they do, but there's just layers of indoctrination and deception, right? And this is something that everyone's dealing with. So, you know, it's like everybody has something. Like everyone has some part of their ability to see the truth blocked because of some attachment to something or some indoctrination or something else. And that's why it's like silly to think that some people are trustworthy and some people aren't. Like nobody's really trustworthy because they might be really honest, but they're deceived themselves, right? So I'm going to cover that in a voiceover. For those of you who are listening to this on the Journey series, it's the previous voiceover. But I thought I would add that ahead of time to what I'm about to say, answer some questions. And there's one more thing I want to talk about. So, you know, we have this great pasture, and it's just a field of goldenrod and daisies. Goldenrod has a beautiful yellow color, daisies. Of course, we have these white daisies, and I mean, it's like a big flower arrangement. And we had so many butterflies and so much, there's somebody firing weapons outside. One of my neighbors just got some kind of automatic weapon. You know, we're out in the country. But anyways, you guys probably can hear it, but I was outside listening to it. I'm like, oh, I got this going on with the chick trying to catch the chicken and all this other shit, right? There's firing right now. But anyways, so we've had a lot of monarch butterflies, and hopefully I remember to put monarch butterfly. I have 3 photos today. We have these cool flowers. We call them the jewel flowers. If one person only one person, maybe 2, 3 tops, knows the name of this flower, let me know, because that'd be good for us. We can't figure out what it is. And the picture might not be there because I might forget to put it in there, but it's a picture of a monarch butterfly on these flowers that we planted. But we've seen maybe at one time walking around 50 monarch butterflies in our pasture. And, you know, there's people who see monarch butterflies and they think of the Monarch MK Ultra mind control program. And they'll think the butterflies are evil, right? Because they've been used as a name for a mind control program, just like the number 666 is evil, right? Or any of these things that people believe because they've been hijacked by the powers that be, right? And so somebody sees, oh, that person's got a butterfly pin, it's a monarch butterfly, they must be a part of some mind control organization. But maybe they just like monarch fucking butterflies, right? Like, that's the problem with the fucking truth community. You got so many dumb fucks in this thing. You know, is that what you're here for, so that you can fucking hate butterflies and be scared of numbers and shit, right? Like, if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. I get into this thing about serving God in a moment. But when you serve God, these things are whatever God wanted them to be, not what the controllers wanted them to be. Like, it's just, you know, there's people in the truth community that, you know, every little thing they see a symbol here and a symbol there. And yeah, maybe it's a symbol. It quite could possibly be, given these people who are, you know, part of some, I don't know, secret organization or some bullshit thing they're a part of. But it doesn't apply to you. If you're good with God and you're connected to God, you know, the fear of the devil, the only way the devil gets you is if you want to be gotten. You know, the devil can't get you, demons can't get you, any of these things can't get you if you're pure of spirit. But if you have deviant tendencies, it's like, the devil made me do it. No, fucking, you had deviant tendencies, motherfucker, right? You know, you had things inside of you that you wanted to come out, and you just was looking for somebody to pull them out of you, right? And so you meet some, you know, evil person. I mean, if you have a gambling addict inside of you, if you have a drug addict, you have some scars, these impressions from a previous existence or whatever it is, and they're looking for, you know, some way to, you know, to liberate themselves, to actualize themselves, right? There are things inside of you that there are compulsions that need to get out, and then you find the right circumstances, and all of a sudden the shit comes out, and then you want to blame it on the devil, right? It's shit that's inside you that you haven't been able to deal with. It's not the devil's fault, because if you get rid of that stuff, if you are able to clean it out, then, you know, it doesn't apply to you. Like, you are able to transcend it. If you're you know, looking at God as your partner, then the devil isn't going to make you do anything. It's what the devil will offer you things to entice you. And again, the devil as some kind of a construct will offer you something to entice you away from what you know is right. And if you go along with it, then, you know, fuck you then, right? I mean, in terms of yourself, like you fucked yourself, right? You knew it was right and wrong, but you wanted to do it. Like, you wanted to fucking do it. And so all this stuff, these things that, you know, all these things that are out there, all the symbols, all the bullshit, all the stuff that people post, you know, like, oh, you should be scared of this and scared of that. And, you know, only if you're fucking, you have things inside of you they'll make you, you know, wander down a deviant path, right? Like, if you don't have those things inside of you, then you have nothing to worry about. And if you do, you know, if you have hatred and fears and you know, deviant tendencies, then you have to deal with that shit. So you don't do the wrong thing. You know, you can find a way to throw those things out of your internal system. Anyways, just want to preface this next section with that, right? Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Today's Saturday the 4th. I think I'm going to put this in the beginning of the video. I had a comment. Here it is. From yesterday. Paul, honest, real question. Did you use the system to gain what you needed to escape the system? Please don't call me a citizen of Dumbfuckistan. Well, that's a good question. So I'm not, you know, I usually don't answer questions, but I mean, I will, you know, if there's something that it is you know, I feel like is an answer that should be given. So I didn't escape the system, right? I don't think anybody escapes the system. And the person asked, did I use the system to escape the system? Well, it's just a change of orientation. So what I believe is we're all slaves. So first of all, this isn't why I'm saying that, but I believe that, of all the ideas of the modern day people, there used to be people that lived 1,000 years or more. 5,000 years ago, people lived a lot longer. And there's lots of evidence of like a higher developed race, maybe humanoid, probably most likely humanoid, that was here that built the pyramids. I mean, this is just what I believe, like just off the cuff. And that they made a slave race that was short of lifespans. Our lifespans are not long enough. Everything's cramped together. Like between our 20s and our 50s, we have to get most of our life's work done. And then we're too worn out and tired out. Many people even die. 6% of Americans die before they turn 50. So, I mean, it's not even a guarantee. And you got to get all that stuff in. By the time you're 50, by the time you're 60, you're kind of getting tired out. Your physical body is showing signs of whatever it is. I mean, the 40s and 50s, once you're halfway through. And so if you lived hundreds of years, it would be something where you could focus a lot more on spirituality. Like, I just think I kind of figured life out, figured my, whatever my deal is when I turn 60. And so it'd be great if I had like another half of my life left and still had youthful energy and things like that for the next, whatever amount of years. I mean, even, longer than that. So I think our lives are too short, and I think that's intentional. And so there's Whispers of the Brighter World message about this. And also there's various videos you can look at. This guy, Lloyd Pye, who was a geneticist, talking about how this second and third chromosome are fused together to make one, which is something that doesn't happen accidentally in nature, so that there was genetic tampering. So this is just what I think, right? That there were higher developed humanoids of some sort or another, more technologically advanced, that were here, lots of evidence to support that, and then they bolted and left behind their genetically modified slaves. But that's not what I'm talking about, that everybody's a slave, because your body is dependent. Like when people say freedom, I'm free, or we were free in America. In what way are you free? So if you don't eat food for 40 days, you die. So that's bondage, right? You're constantly finding ways to feed yourself. I mean, you have to, every animal on the planet spends so much time finding ways to feed themselves, as well as keep warm or cold, keep their body temperature within their survivable limits. You can die from hypothermia, and you can die from whatever the thing is when you overheat. And you can die from overheating or becoming too cold. And then you can also die from lack of water, 3-4 days. And then without breathing, 10 minutes. And then without God, no time at all. If there's no divinity within you, no soul, no something that's animating your life, it's no time at all. So we're slaves in that way, right? We're constantly trying to feed ourselves. We're constantly looking for shelter and doing whatever we can do, fire, whatever it is, to cool ourselves down or to heat ourselves up. I mean, all these things. It's a constant. Those are just some of the things we need. And, of course, there's so many other things we need in terms of, like, affection and relationships and community, right? I mean, how many people have embarrassed themselves, sold themselves out, right? There was a guy who did my meditation. He still does my meditation. We used to be friends. We were, kind of there weren't many people in America the same age as I was. This is when I was in my 30s. This guy was a lot like me, except he was a scientist for NASA. And he got married at one of the gatherings to a girl he was living with. I had a couple of conversations with his girlfriend and then wife. She seemed kind of cool. And we became friends, and, we met at these, gatherings that we have in Atlanta. And at some point, he didn't really want to get married to her. Like, he didn't really love her. She wasn't like the love of his life. But he got a lot of pressure from people in a weird way. Everyone's married in the Sajmark system. It's a big thing. And he got a lot of pressure, and she was into it, even though she didn't really do the meditation. And she didn't even think it was a real thing, like, because they never got legally married. So they were just married by the master of the system. And, that's, they're supposed to go get legally married, and they never did. And so she ended up cheating on him and leaving him because he was just neglecting her. And he called me up, and I was trying to pump him up. And I was like, at least you didn't, like, lose your dignity. Like, I'm saying shit like that. Like, I'm trying to, like, make him feel better. And there's this pause, and I, like, right after I said, at least you didn't lose your dignity. And he goes, Paul, I was begging. I got on my knees and I fucking begged, right? Which was weird because he had, he neglected this girl, really wasn't into her. And then she, cheated on him and left him, and he stalked her and begged her. Like, this is, people will lose their dignity. And that's a form of slavery, right? Emotional blackmail. People get a hold of you, you form an attachment. And, like, how many people have given up their dignity and things, and relationships, or all these other things. And then, of course, you have your wage slave job. And then you have your slavery to the system, the beast, and, all the things that you have, your family, all the things that are, you have these things hanging over your head that dominate your time and steal your energy, your prana. So there's no escaping all of that. And the system that exists is the system. And so freedom from the system is, in my estimation, there's only one thing, and that is to change your slavery, your slave master from the system and all the other people, your boss and all these other people in the world, and work for God, like become a slave to God, right? Because as long as you're going to be a slave, you might as well have God as your master. And then instead of thinking about all the bullshit that happens to you, I mean, if you truly surrender to God, even partially, certainly fully, when you surrender to God and you're working for God, then everything that happens to you, all the good things that come to you, all the bad things, all the whatever it is that happens to you, comes from God. It doesn't come from fucking Trump, or it doesn't come from Joe Biden, or it doesn't come from the people in your life, all these things, right? You look at anything that happens to you, no matter how bad or how good it is, as coming from God. You didn't do anything to deserve the good things, or maybe you did, but God gave it to you, right? The good things that are there, it's not something that you get all egocentric about it and cocky and arrogant. Look at I did. Look at I accomplished. Anything you accomplished with God's help. Without God's help, you could never accomplish it. So there's no reason to think of yourself arrogantly or better than other people, or better than, whatever it is. Like, you just don't, you're humbled because without God you can't do anything. And anything bad that comes to you, it comes from God, so it must be good. There must be a reason for it. And so that changes your whole orientation to life, right? You no longer look at the system that, you're born into the system. Your soul chose to be born into the system. And so you have to accept it, the good, bad, and the ugly, the corruption, the demonic nature of the system. But also you can serve a God as your master, and then the system is divinized in the sense that for you it's something else, right? For everybody else, their slave master is the system, or for most people, their slave master is the system. And so for those people, they have to, it's just random shit that happens to them because of an abusive system, or all, demonic system, or whatever you want to say. But for you, everything is from God. God is looking out for you. In the Sajmark system, there's this idea that when you're doing God's work, God is doing your work. And so that's I can say, in my experience of that, it's 100% true. So, escaping from the system is not possible. I mean, you can go live off grid and all that shit, but that's, it's still, I mean, I don't even know if that's even escaping from it. It can still, no matter where you are, the system can come get you. So, only in the sense of when you leave this world, but as long as you're in your physical body and you're going to be a slave to one thing or another, you might as well be a slave to God. And that takes an internal connection, and you can't just bullshit it either. It's something you have to do. You can't pretend it, because God knows. Like, you can't bullshit God, right? Okay, so there's another comment that came in later on today. Somebody wrote, "Hey Paul, when is the apocalypse starting?" February 2026. Well, I read this Whispers of the Brighter World. Now, first of all, this is a French woman that did the meditation that I do, and she gave over 20,000 channeled messages, and most of them are for the second master of the system, Babaji. And he gave these prophecies, and he said there's going to be a big event that happens. Not there's going to be a series of big events, bigger than anything we've seen so far, bigger than 9/11, bigger than COVID, bigger than any of these hurricanes and things. That is going to be the start of a series of destructive events that will make life on Earth tumultuous. And the first one is supposed to happen somewhere. The message is from 2001 in February. I forget the date, like February 28th. So the end of, so if he said in 25 years there'll be a big event, but that doesn't mean, it means I think around 25 years. And that's if you believe that or not. Otherwise, if it happens, then there's more credibility to it. But, it's already happening and we can see it right in front of us. I mean, the world that we know doesn't exist. The world that we grew up in as kids already has changed so much. I mean, think about all the changes you've seen in your life. So the destruction of the world we grew up in, you guys who grew up in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, even the 90s, you see so much changes. And for the kids growing up now, like what's AI going to do? So, we're going to see drastic changes. And so, some people have already had their apocalypse. Lots of people. So I just want to add to that. I just got one more comment here. One person said, Tucker, CIA Carlson is a trash. The title of the video was Tucker Slams the Chosen Ones. Now, he did a good job there. Like, it was good quality reporting. It was like a regular report. Like, it's about things that you've never heard people say or allowed to say from a semi-mainstream person. Once in a while, CNN puts out something good. Once in a while, you'll see something good from MSNBC or any of these people. Or you're something you might just agree with. Like, these might be people that you dislike or even hate. But once in a while, they say something good, right? When I work with sex offenders in treatment centers, once in a while they would be good people. Like, they were really pretty miserable and they were in these treatment centers. I mean, some of them were better than others, right? I mean, they were sex offenders, but they had other characteristics and qualities. Some of them were just evil and just greasy and, they were going to have thousands of victims. They were just like golems. And some of them, they made some sort of mistake. Their offense was, something lesser of what people would find less offensive. Like a kid who was 15 or 16 dating a 14-year-old girl is a lot better than a kid who's 12 or 13 sexually abusing a toddler, right? Things like this. Or a series of kids. But, they all have their different personalities. All these evil people, some of them have redeeming qualities. It's not like they don't have some good things going on, right? Everybody wants to have these sort of these filters that, all right, this person's a bad person, this person's a good person, this person's a trustworthy person. It's just a binary fuckerism, right? Being a binary fuck. It's just, I mean, you see a title of a video and you think you know what's in it. If somebody says something and you just, you're one of those people, just trying to put you in a fucking category. I mean, you're worthless. Like, what good are you? Like, you're not living life. You're already prejudging everything. Like, people are just so prejudiced and they're, well, that person's a liberal, well, that person's this, that person's a Trumper, all these things, right? Most of the comments that I mock are people who think they know something when they don't, right? People who are offended by something that they should be grateful that somebody fucking told them finally what a dumb fuck they are, right? Like, they should be grateful that somebody, and they, not even directly. Like, I say something and people go, hey, he's talking about me, right? Like, I don't know who you are. I'm not talking about you. But if if what I'm saying fits you, then maybe you should think about that, right? Because I'm not just making shit up, right? Like, these are real personality configurations. These are real things that people do. And what does it mean? Like, when people are acting in such a way, like, you just can't, look in the mirror and face the truth about yourself, right? We all have a limited time of life's energy. With all the things that are going on, one of the things I can truly say is, in terms of my, doing years of meditation, spiritual practice, and my just living life and seeing other people go through whatever they're going through, everybody pays for everything they ever did wrong and is rewarded for everything they ever did right. Like, all those things are, there's a system, there's a divine system of accountability. And you might not see it in this life, and you might look at all these people saying they're getting away with this or getting away with that, but everybody ends up suffering the consequences of their actions. Everyone gets the full dose of consequences. Nobody gets away with shit, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, right? It's, you know, it's already taken care of by God. Unless it's your job, you're in a jury or something, or you're a cop, or you're, you know, prosecutor. I mean, for those people, sure. But for everybody else, you don't have to worry about anybody else. You just have to worry about your own bullshit, because you're the one who's going to suffer the consequences of your own actions and behaviors. Anyway, with that in mind, let's get into the other stuff. Okay, so I made a couple of video clips you'll see in a moment yesterday about the merch over at Turning Point USA, but today's Sunday, October 5th. I made those yesterday. But we got to start here. Benjamin Shapiro will not be apologized for saying he would waive the Born in America requirement for Bibi Netanyahu to be president. This was something he said years ago, and a lot of people are not happy about it. You know, there's no way the guy would get elected, so why would you say something so stupid? The guy is just evil incarnate. I mean, when he talks, he's so annoying. He's just obnoxious. You know, the liberals in Israel, the ones who are, you know, pro-Palestinian, or at least, you know, they're not the warmonger. I mean, the left over there, they hate the guy. I mean, he's their Trump. And there's no way he would ever be president here, but God knows how they can manipulate something. But it's, you know, it wouldn't happen. And so why say something so stupid? I mean, is there anybody more unlikable than Benjamin Netanyahu, other than maybe Ben Shapiro? So Ben Shapiro is like a total right-wing weasel who's pro-Israel. And he's on the wrong side of pretty much everything. But he did this thing in the past. He owned himself in a way that nobody's ever owned themselves before. So remember this, you know, Cardi B is just, I covered her before. She's just, you know, so low vibration, so low consciousness. Before I used to wonder if it was an act, but then it was just like, no, she's just that stupid. And they had this really degraded video that was going out to little girls, WAP, right, wet ass pussy, which was, you know, I mean, so many of us commented on it, but nobody commented on it like Ben Shapiro.
Condition that requires the care.
Wait, right here.
What amounts to a serious condition that requires the care of a doctor. So
he's saying wet pussy. Let's go back a little bit.
This condition that requires
a little bit more here.
And by the way, the song is so unsexy that it frankly sounds like somebody describing what amounts to a serious condition that requires the care of a doctor.
Okay, so that's not where you should go with this. It's, you know, it's low consciousness, low vibration. Kids are listening to this shit. It was the #1 song, in some whatever chart or whatever. I mean, it was a monster song. It got, you know, millions upon millions of views, like one of the #1 songs of that year, right? It was just, you know, something degrading women. And Ben Shapiro decided to, you know, ask his wife about it.
Oh, fortunately, I know a doctor who is my wife. And so I asked her for her medical diagnosis. And she looked at the lyrics herself. And after being kind of appalled by them, obviously, she had a few sort of indicators here on how she could diagnose the vaginal condition that apparently these women are suffering from.
I.e. wet pussy. So Ben Shapiro is mystified by the lyrics of this song and this condition of a woman having a wet vagina, because he's never heard of such a thing or experienced it. So he decides to ask his wife about it, who says, "Don't worry, Ben, it's just it's a medical condition and you don't have to worry about it ever." Ben, you will never be the catalyst for such an activity, for such a biological response. It's one of the greatest things ever. This complete tool doesn't know how much he's owned himself. He goes on to read the lyrics and talk about how there are all these medical conditions, you know, when it's just, I mean, if rap music is anything, it is exaggeration and lies and bragging about stuff, and, you know. But he's taking the lyrics seriously. He had to consult his wife, who said, "Nothing to see here, dear. Don't worry about it. just a medical condition that you'll never have to deal with ever. You're incapable. You're the antidote. You're the cure to wet pussy. I've lived with you for a number of years, and I can say you are the absolute cure. It's so great, and this video, it's his video. He still has this up there. Like, he has no idea how much he's owning himself here. Okay, so let's check Erika Kirk's Instagram page. Here's one that play a dopey song to this. I'm not sure I can show it, but maybe I'll come back to that one. I don't want to deal with that one today. But let's get to this one here, right where she's crying. Here she's let's go up here so it's the resets, right? Right, she's crying. So she decided to use that as a thumbnail, right? And it says, "I forgive him." Right? So she posted this on Instagram shortly after she gave the speech. Right, here's the stuff here. And here she is.
Charlie passionately wanted to reach and save the lost boys of the West. The young men who feel like they have no direction, no purpose, no faith, and no reason to live. The men wasting their lives on distractions, and the men consumed with resentment, anger, and hate. Charlie wanted to help them. He wanted them to have a home with Turning Point USA. And when he went onto campus, he was looking to show them a better path and a better life that was right there for the taking. He wanted to show them that. My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men just like the one who took his life. Young man. On the cross, our Savior said,
It's just so hard. It's so hard. So, there's a little pause there, right? Where they showed the audience, and she knew that there was going to be a pause, where they clipped the audience, and then they went back to her, the cameraman, because they knew this is it's a rehearsed speech. He's written this speech, right? She's reading the speech. They all know what's coming. Like in the show, like it's stagecrafted. It's horribly done because she sucks.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Where's the tears? Boom. Look at them applauding. Look at them us crying. She delivered. They dabbed my fake tears here. She got some. So she got a tear there. Let me dab it.
I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. Charlie.
Boom. This was my favorite statement of the whole ceremony. He wanted to save young men like the one who took his life. 1,200 likes. This is the gospel of Jesus Christ. 3,000 likes. Something is not right. 7,000 likes. Right? This is so fake. 647 likes. Remember when Kobe died in a helicopter crash and his wife could barely get a word out without crying? This is the opposite of that, and I don't know what that means. 822 likes. Epstein files must be crazy. RN. 1,000 likes. I'm not sure what that means. RN. I'm sure that has some reference to Trump there. I don't know. What a show, Erika. I feel sorry for Charlie. My dog stepped on a bee. Speech. Praying for you and the kids always. And then, you were the best of us, Charlie. I miss you, brother. She will do great in Hollywood. 1,500 likes. Now, of course, there might be people coming here to troll. You know, people who are just trolls. Right-wing, left-wing people. But there is some things here about, like, it's falling apart. Here's another one here where she talks about, this is
Charlie's show became the
North Star. The woman was the definition of strength. My mom went back to work a week after she lost my dad. She said she needed to be busy so they didn't rot away in grief. Something to keep in mind for people giving her shit. 4,416 likes. This woman is a definition of strength. 9,000 likes. When Charlie was interviewing you for a job but decided to date you instead, he was interviewing you for the most important job of your life. You got that job, the job. God bless you and the family. I stand with Erika if that one got 2,200 likes. I stand with Erika praying for you and the kids and the whole family that got 900 likes. God bless you. No like, 4 likes. Isn't it interesting how many people can just smell something that's not right here? No one knows exactly what yet, but our gut is on it, is onto it. 6,500 likes, right? We miss you, Charlie. 2,000 likes. So the stuff that's getting the most likes is one's calling bullshit on this thing. I love how upset white liberal women are at Erika because she shows how strong she is in her conviction in God and the plan. You guys want strong female women in this world, and when you presented with one, you tear her down. Make it make sense. 32,000 likes. None of this seems normal. 4,000 likes. If nobody can see the exhaustion and pain in her expression, not sure what to say, I can really see it, but she is strong. And so, there's people out there, and I think some of them are turning point people, a good portion of them, obviously, that see this as fake as fuck, like she just doesn't deliver, right? Like it's just weird. So there's a couple here that use music, and oftentimes that music gets copyrighted when you try to play on YouTube, so I might have to edit these out. But if I do, I do. But here, so he's with his daughter here.
Sir Isaac Newton fell asleep underneath a tree.
You know, he does these things. It's so performative, right? And so I know this music. I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath here, but I'm pretty sure they'll copyright the music here, and I'll have to take out the whole, or at least some of it.
And then the apple hit him, kind of like this. So then he came up with the 3 laws. Okay, see, that's the issue. Is you keep on thinking when you drop it, it comes back up, but it doesn't. Okay.
Again, why do you need the music? Like, I've always said this, and they started doing this with Heartfulness with this clown Dodgy, because Dodgy sucks. But if you have to put music is manipulative in terms of it evokes emotion and it sets a tone, right? But this asshole is, kids throw shit on the floor, right? And it's good to talk to your kids like they're, to tell them things that are above their ability to understand. Like they should hear things like not, baby talk isn't good for kids. It's weird and, it's not good for kids. And I talk to my dogs, sometimes similar to this. But, he's trying to change her behavior here by explaining Isaac Newton's 3 laws of gravity. Because they're at a restaurant dropping shit on the floor. And saying, like, this will be a great moment. And so, it's not going to work. Like, you know, maybe this will help her develop intellectually, you know, talking to kids on a higher level than they're on. I mean, them being around adult level understanding, but, you know, they do this a lot. She has no idea the capacity of a 3-year-old. There was some other thing I covered, you know, they were talking about something that a 3-year-old is just not capable of, right? Whatever that is, I forget, you know, it was a couple videos ago. But she came back and said, she's, where's Daddy? Well, he's up with Jesus doing a special assignment because, you know, you're putting us in the poorhouse with your fucking blueberry habit. You're eating blueberries, right? Like, they were just a weird family.
The final hike.
So he says the final hike here, and she's playing some music, and I have to turn it off. But, you know, when I see people that are friends with me on Instagram liking these things, people who watch my videos, it's very, you know, it's a real bummer, right? So
The Last Dance.
So he says the last dance, right? He's kind of a goober. And so she's making this thing. So then she goes from him saying that they must be selling a house or they're leaving a place. And so he's saying the final hike, the last dance. And then shows her up here. I love you, Charlie. I love you. Hear me. Let me glom onto this motherfucker here. Woo! Crowd. Turning point. Woo! Like this segue, it's like grief porn, right? It's so fucking gross, these things. You know, I mean, just grieve. You know, it's a private thing. And it's not working because your fucking channel's tanking, right? Their turning point is just, they're getting no views and their videos suck. And so it's the last dance. I love you, Charlie. I fucking love you so much. Let me climb on to... No, he smells so fucking bad. Jesus Christ. And so, so one last thing here. Entrepreneur, steadfast in faith, owner at Proclaim X, Bibi Blin 365, Midweek Rise Up podcast, leader of Bible 365, writer of this thing, Mrs. Erika Kirk. 7.1 million followers, following 1,000 people, 665 posts. Like, see the next one. So that's going to be hilarious. I have to check back tomorrow or whatever, because she's going to have to post more shit. She loves to post stuff. She's, you know, really into the Instagram thing, and she's not really appearing on the YouTube channel very much. And so, you know, like there, she's got fans. She's got a, you know, bunch of people who, you know, I mean, without critical thinking skills, sure, but she's got them, and she likes doing this stuff. But the next one's 666 posts, right? Unless she goes and deletes a lot of the other ones, she's going to reach 666 pretty soon. I want to catch it. I got to remind myself to check every day, and of course I won't. But you know. Hopefully I'll nab it. Hopefully it's today or tomorrow. Okay, so this is the channel here. Charlie Kirk Show. We'll look a little bit at this one. The SPLC's Hate Watch is actually a hit list that targeted Charlie Kirk. Like, that's the kind of bullshit they're pushing here. We'll watch a little bit. That's going to suck. And that only got 75,000 views. Like, that's a very provocative title. 14,000 views. Christianity can survive the West, but the West cannot survive without Christianity. A behind-the-scenes look at TPSU. I showed you this yesterday, 41,000 views. So, you know, they have 500 so employees, and they're putting out multiple videos a day. But, you know, with that many employees, like some of them are making probably more than $100,000. The guy hosting the show, you know, so these are paid employees. And they are getting, you know, I mean, 500 employees. I mean, that's a shit ton of money. You know, that could be like $1 million a month, $500,000 a month or something. It's not. It's more than $500,000 a month because they're not making $10,000 each. You know, so You know, we're talking about, you know, 50, did I say 500 employees? Yeah, so 500 employees, 400 and something. And so they have a lot of money they have to make every month. And, you know, they merged out and they had a big payday after Charlie died. But their views are down. You can't make that money on 24,000 views, 26,000 views, right? 24,000 views. I mean, they're hemorrhaging money. You know, they might have other places where they're getting access to people. But, you know, the donations will be drying up. The economy sucks. And, you know, these college tour things, I mean, they got people coming in, but they pretty much all suck. You know, they're not Charlie Kirk. And these videos, 20,000, 25,000 views, 65, 26,000. It's just, you know, it's abysmal. Like you go down to when Charlie was there, 350, 2.2 million, 149,000, 1.2 million, 300,000, 500,000, 1.5 million. You know, these things all over 200,000, right? 90,000, one of the few ones, 20,000 there. Some of the smaller videos. But for the most part, these things, there's millions of views here, right? And so their viewership's just, and it's going to go down more. Like people are checking out the channel and they're like, oh, this sucks. And you'll come back and this will be a dead channel. They'll be looking at ways to revive it, bringing in Erika or whatever. And so, but, you know, he was getting 400, 500,000 views, million views to various places. I mean, he was, you know, very seldom was he under 100,000 views. Average was probably like 200,000 to 500,000 to 500,000 views. And then he, you know, his live videos got a lot more. These live videos, the one with Erika and things like this. But some of these things got, you know, millions of views here as well. So, you know, they're fucked. Like they just, you know, this is a dead thing. They can merch out all they want, but, you know, grief only lasts so long. You can only, you know, ride the grief train so much. This martyr thing is like not even a real thing for most people watching this.
We have a lot to get to. The SBLC is in the news. Breaking just moments ago.
You're calling the SBLC, which I don't even know what that is, and do you guys know what that is? Right? And it's some liberal thing. And so I'm assuming, well, we'll find out. He'll tell us maybe. He just sucks at his job. Like he shouldn't be doing this. Like he's just not good at talking in front of a camera.
Kash Patel has officially severed ties between the FBI and the SBLC. It kind of had a vibe that he wasn't even aware that there was a tie until comments were floated on social media. I doubt it was impacting his job so much, but the fact that there was official tie was pretty offensive. So I want to welcome in the guy who wrote the book on the SBLC, and that is Tyler O'Neill. He's the senior editor at Daily Signal, and he also is the author of the book Making Hate Pay: The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center. So Tyler O'Neill...
Oh, the Southern Poverty Law Center. And also, he didn't talk about how he severed ties with whatever that... the Anti-Defamation League, which either Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or both were covering, right? Look at this guy, right?
Welcome to the show. Thank you for making the time. I've been seeing you all over social media.
So, SPLC, the Southern Part of the Poverty Law Center, it's not breaking news. I mean, for the right-wing people, it is. It's this stuff that, you know, there's no passion on the left for the Southern Poverty Law Center. There's no passion on the, well, I don't think even on the left. I don't know where the passion would be for the Anti-Defamation League, because the left is going south on Israel and so is the right. But people don't give a shit about those. Like, there's a small group of people, but they're boring organizations, and it's the people that hate them that talk about them. Someone like Alex Jones, these other people, like right-wing truther, you know, whatever they are. People like Charlie Kirk and people like Ben Shapiro.
Trying to raise the alarm bells about the SPLC, and I got a lot of questions. Blake might chime in, Mikey might chime in, but I'm just going to start.
Mikey,
explain to me what inspired you to write the book in the first place, because you were ahead of the curve. And for those who are unaware of what the SBLC is, Tyler, tell us what it is and what it's become.
Thank you so much for having me. Let me just say it is an honor to be on the Charlie Kirk show.
The guy, even though he's dead, like, it's not as much of an honor if he was actually here and like I was talking to him, like that would be kind of a bigger honor. But like, this is okay too. Like, you're all right. Like, at least you're Charlie adjacent. Is Erika available?
Seeing everything that Charlie did to champion free speech on our college campuses after it had been stifled for so.
Okay. Does anybody else think that this guy is gay, right? Does anybody else think this guy might be gay? I mean, is it me, or is this guy, like another one of these Turning Point guys, seems like he's gay? Which, seems kind of weird for the kind of rhetoric they're pushing there.
Holding them to account. But I think we need much more than just taking Turning Point off a list at this point. I completely agree. I posted last night on X that their hate list was really just a hit list, and Elon Musk, I guess, is quote tweeted it, which, good for him.
Good for him. Fucking good for fucking Elon.
And he's been excellent on this, ADL and SPLC. And at some point, it stops mattering, Tyler, if these people were directly motivated by something they saw in the SPLC. It creates an ecosystem of political violence, a sheen of legitimacy.
It just doesn't do that. Like, they're putting these lists on these organizations on lists of like whatever, hate lists or hate group lists, and nobody gives a shit because no one cares about the fucking Southern Poverty Law Center, right? It's something they put on a manifesto like the FBI or the CIA would write, some bullshit manifesto for one of these people. Like, no one gives a shit about them. That's why no one's watching this fucking show. Like, the only thing that they can do here is come out and say the official story of Charlie's death is bullshit. But they can't do it because they're in on it. Charlie's either alive or dead, right? It's like either or, right? He's either he was killed in this, here or somewhere else, right? Because it could be a hologram, but they could have still killed the guy, right? Or they, he's an actor or someone and they reassigned him. I don't know. They fucking give him a new hairdo. I don't know, whatever. I mean, those things, when people say people are living on some island with Robin Williams and, all these other people who died all of a sudden, Chris Cornell or whoever these guys are, Bob Saget, whatever. They're all together. They're not really being killed. They're not really dead. Prince, these celebrities, when they disappear and they say, no, they're not really dead. They do this, they fake their deaths. And then someone like Charlie Kirk or someone, that's more political. But, his organization's tanking. Like, they don't have a replacement for him. His wife is annoying, and she's not going to, once the grieving part is over, what has she got, right? Like, what has she got that's going to carry an audience? And so he was the star of this organization, and they don't have a replacement. This martyr shit and the martyr money's running out, and the, using it as a martyr, they just got bad content. Got a guy, you got a guy on there that wrote a book about the Southern Poverty Law Center. What do you expect to get out of that, right? Candace Owens is calling bullshit on this assassination attempt. She's getting millions upon millions of views, and you guys are fucking, bringing this dweeb in like they're John. So, it seems like he's probably dead because unless they, the martyr thing, like they've gotten all they're going to get out of that, right? I don't know what's left, but it's, the energy it dissipates really quickly. Anyways, so there's that. Okay, maybe greetings, brothers and sisters, maybe not. So I'm getting all these ads, not just from Turning Point USA, but I clicked on their thing came up, a link came up on their on Facebook, which was always a mistake. And so now I'm getting all these ads, right? Not just from them, but from other companies, but this is from them. And so I'm not sure when this is the first clip I'm doing for tomorrow's video, the Sunday video. But I wanted to catch this before it faded away into Facebook Neverland. So here.
If you've paid attention, Charlie Kirk's birthday is October 14th. And to show your support, click on the cart below to get yours today. 100% cotton.
You expect me to buy a present for Charlie Kirk on his birthday? Did this bitch just say she expects me to purchase some merch from them for Charlie Kirk's birthday? Right? Is that what you guys are fucking pushing out there? Is that fucking being a martyr? Is this what martyrdom's all about? Like if back in the day they had the internet when Jesus was martyred and his disciples were martyred, they would have been hawking merch and saying, Jesus' birthday's coming along pretty soon. Not on Christmas, because that's not his real birthday. But Jesus' birthday, whenever that was, is, in a week or so. Everybody get yourself a crown of thorns, Everyone get yourself a tunic, whatever you wore, right? Everyone get yourself a pair of official Jesus sandals.
These are breathable. This is just a beautiful patriotic design.
It's a total patriotic design. I mean, when I looked at it, I went, how fucking patriotic is that shirt? And what better way to celebrate Charlie Kirk's birthday than to buy a $50 t-shirt from a fading company?
So cute. This is a little signature on there.
Oh, that's not a signature. It's not a signature. It's his name. Oh, it is a signature. It's up there.
I haven't even got to wash it yet, and it feels so comfortable.
I mean, it's before you wash it, it's so comfortable. She's running out of shit to say. It's a fucking t-shirt.
I normally don't wear t-shirts until after I wash them, but this patriotic design, I love the color.
It's so patriotic. I mean, the way they designed this t-shirt, it differs from all those unpatriotic t-shirts.
I love the placement. Click the cart below to get yours.
That placement right there, where she pointed to the placement, that's wonderful placement. What fucking placement for a signature. I mean, right there, it's placed so well. Right there, where a signature is, that's great placement.
Before October 14th. On the 14th, we are painting the town red.
Exactly, with Charlie Kirk's blood. With Charlie Kirk's fake ketchup blood, just like with Trump's ketchup. We're going to go and we're going to sell ketchup on our site. Everyone buy some ketchup and paint the town red.
Paint the town red. Click the cart below. And if you have a negative opinion, like I said before, keep scrolling. I love this shirt. I love this cause. And October 14th, you best believe that even at work all day, I think it's a Tuesday, I'm going to be wearing this.
Until I'm fired when my boss says, what the fuck are you wearing? Because I work as a secretary, as a administrative assistant at a company, and he's going to be, why are you wearing a t-shirt on Tuesday? Well, I'm painting the town red, boss. Charlie Kirk's birthday today, fucker.
Click the cart below. Get yours.
Get yours now.
These sell out.
I mean, they might sell out. Like, we got a limited number of these wonderful, patriotically designed t-shirts. So you better get them as soon as possible. All right, we're going to go to see how much they cost.
Love this color.
They cost the best.
If you've paid attention.
Okay. So first of all, almost everything's 50% off. It's 50% off celebrating Charlie Kirk's t-shirt. Buy 2, save 8%. Buy 4, save 15%. Buy 6, save 20%. It's already 50% off. If you buy 6 of them, it's 70% off. You're getting 6 t-shirts at 30%. I mean, crazy. It was normally $47. I mean, that's a steal at that fucking price. But it's only $23.99. Remember, I used to watch Home Shopping Network and Jewelry.com, and I'd make fun of it. I got to do that again. That was wonderful. I love doing that. Then these bracelets. I mean, $8.99. That's crazy. Like, I mean, for this wonderful bracelet. And then again, it's Charlie Kirk's birthday coming up. So holy shit. I mean, you gotta see. Look, it's got a flag on the back of it with Charlie Kirk in the middle. I mean, it's just, what better way to show your support for Charlie Kirk than to look at this thing right here. It's a memorial sticker. It's a sticker that looks just like Charlie Kirk was if he was on a 1950s sitcom. And there it is. God, family, country. Kaboom. Look at this patriotic cut, this patriotic design on that one. I mean, it's so patriotic the way it hugs you in the middle of the t-shirt. I mean, it's with God and family and country going right across your chest, and I mean, stars and stripes on this side, and a flag on that side. I mean, fucking the patriotism is just, it's just off the charts. This is from Associated Press. Smoke and explosions in Gaza as Israel continues strikes. Look how decimated this place is. So, you know, they're continuously bombing the place, even though they supposedly made a deal with Trump and the Hamas holes, who are an Israeli asset. I mean, there's no reason for the Hamas to do anything but completely surrender. They've destroyed the country. And we've done everything as Israel wants. Like Israel, this is what they've wanted all along, what is happening right now, other than the, you know, the global outrage. And maybe they want that too. Maybe they want to be disliked, right? Who knows? At least some of them. Maybe they want to be hated. But in terms of the goal here, which was annex this property, this very valuable property, this is the goal. This is not what the Palestinian people wanted at all. So they went from an open-air prison, you know, some sort of reservation concentration camp type situation, to having their complete infrastructure destroyed, so maybe 600,000 people dead, 200,000, maybe more kids under the age of 5, young people, making up half of that, 300,000 under the age of 18. All the things that have happened, they can't rebuild this. Their lives are never going to be the same. And they weren't great beforehand, right? Like, it's completely fucked. And they're still bombing. Like, you know, Hamas has caved and is going to give the hostages back. Why not wait a day or two? You got to stop fucking bombing civilians, right? I mean, there's outrage, global outrage. And they're punking Trump, like, you know, they agreed to Trump's deal, but they're still... You know, so whatever happens here, there's going to be divine consequences, right? You can't do shit like this. And I covered that in my next video. I did a voiceover for tomorrow talking about, you know, how everything's accounted for. I think I do that tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I've already done it. But anyways, so this is happening. So I got a bunch of things that are up on my toolbar. I want to clear all this stuff out. It seems like today's not a big news day. Sunday usually isn't. We'll see what happens today. But this was something.
Secretary Pete Hegseth summoning hundreds of American...
Let's go back here.
Secretary Pete Hegseth summoning hundreds of American generals, admirals, and senior officers from around the world for an urgent...
Did he say genital?
meeting in Quantico, Virginia. What's behind this? Here's Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, in an unprecedented move, Secretary Pete Hegseth asking all U.S. general officers and admirals in command positions and senior enlisted leaders around the world to gather at the U.S. Marine Base in Quantico, Virginia. That means hundreds of senior officers. The Pentagon saying in a statement the Secretary of War will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week.
This guy's a complete tool. You know, he was in the National Guard as a low-ranking, whatever it was. I mean, he didn't go through the usual process. And not that these generals and high-ranking military guys are great. They usually aren't. But he was a guy in Fox News who couldn't keep his job there, showing up drunk from the night before on a morning show, breathing out alcohol, impregnating his co-worker while he was still married to a woman who had 3 of his young kids, impregnating her, and then sleeping with another woman who claimed that he sexually assaulted her, so much that his mom wrote him a letter saying, "You're just a complete piece of shit." Right? And that's the guy running your military, no real training, just a complete dumbass too, like really fucking stupid. Like, you know, you could be a drunk and a partier and be like, you know, whatever, and be smart, but he's like a dumbass on top of it. Like when he talks, you're like, oh my, this guy's fucking really stupid. And he's summoning all these generals, and this is not a good thing when we're already on the verge of martial law, and then all the things that are going to happen that are going to make World War III happen in the next 6 months. So, you know, so this is, you know, just all the strange behaviors coming out from the Trump White House. Okay, we haven't checked in with stupid-ass, the dumbest guy in the news front. Well, I guess they're dumber people, but at least one who, like, is considered a serious journalist. He's the dumbest, I think, right? I mean, we don't count the ladies at the View, right?
I had to talk to you about something that is serious. I don't want to be disrespectful, but you know how I like to tell the truth.
Yeah, we know how you love to tell the truth, Don. Everyone says that. Don Lemons is a truth teller.
So I'm glad that you're here this morning. And this one is particularly important.
Catherine Sinkfield, GM, blessings to you. GM, blessings to you. Nation family, Diamond Nation family, Don and the crew.
Important and familiar to me, and because it involves something that I believe is controlling of people, something that distorts people's thinking, and something that is disrespectful of actual true Christianity.
Because he's a barometer of a true Christian.
And the danger that religion poses. Now, I say this.
Tell it like it is, Don.
As
Right
a
here.
person of faith. As you know, I wrote a book about it.
I was once I was lost, and then I what? And then I was unlost because or more lost. I once was lost, and now I'm just clueless, right?
Not saying that you don't have to go out and buy it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm holding it up for you just so you don't buy it. I'm holding it right in your fucking face saying, don't buy my book. You don't have to buy it, but it's about how I'm such a great Christian.
I'm just showing you this because I know.
I know, because I wrote a book. And so if I wrote a book, I got to know some shit, right? There's got to be words and shit in here about Christianity because I wrote a book on it. So I'm not just some like asshole talking about it. Like I wrote a fucking book.
Buy it. I'm just saying, I'm just showing you this because I know. Just a year ago, was it September? A year ago this month, this book came out. And I warned people about the dangers of Christian nationalism, white nationalism, but Christian wrapped in Christian nationalism.
Boom. That's what he warned people of. And people are going to read the book and they're going to be like, oh, I'm a right-wing white Christian Southern person who votes for Trump, and now Don Lemons has made me see the light because they're going to buy your book and read it. Christian nationalists, white Christian Republican nationalists are going to buy your book and go, oh my God, this guy Don Lemon's brilliant. Like they're going to totally be won over. Like he always does this where he thinks his speech, whatever he's saying, is so brilliant, in which of course it never is. But even if it was, let's say this was the best book ever. The people who he's talking about are never going to read it. If they did, they're not going to agree with it. So it's silly. Like you're not going to influence people like that. And he should know that, but he doesn't. Like you spend some time doing this kind of job. And of course, he was at CNN. But you realize you can't influence other people like people think you can. Because pretty much everyone's full of their own opinions and full of their own bullshit. And everyone's already made up their mind on most things. And there are some people that look towards, maybe certain people to clarify some things for them or whatever. They go to certain people for that. But the people that would go to Don Lemons are really stupid, and they're not any of the people he's talking about here, right? They're liberal people. They're liberal CNN people. And they're too liberal for CNN, right?
That's a real thing.
It is a real thing, Don.
You can want to believe that it's happening or not. That's your business. That's on you. Whether you would like to believe what I'm saying or not. But good morning, and we're going to get into it. And I'm going to show you some of the things that happened this past weekend. But this is something that I need to say because I think it's very important, especially for my country and for anyone of faith, regardless of whatever your faith is. Whatever
you are so right, 3 thumbs up.
It is. I want to talk to you about sanctified power and what Charlie Kirk's memorial revealed about America.
What did it reveal, Don? Give us the insights to your to this marvelous brain of yours.
That's what I want to talk about.
Say it, Don. Don, say it.
I'm going to talk to you, and this is on page 77 of my book.
Go read it. Read it. Read this book that you told us not to buy.
went back and I read it, and I
reread my book. I watched Erika Kirk and Donald Trump in that bogus memorial service. This is from a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was, right? I just didn't get around to car. I haven't watched this yet. I knew it would be great though. But I'm watching them. I'm watching Erika Kirk. I'm like, maybe I should go reread my book.
I was a little bit late this morning with my producers because I've been thinking about this all night, and I was writing, and I said, do I want to do this? Do I want to write it as a Substack? What
Preach, my brother.
do I want to do? So let me just tell you, this is the pretext.
Their comment. These white nationalists didn't read their scriptures.
What I'm about to tell you. True freedom of religion would support democracy, foster mutual understanding, and encourage critical thinking. You guys with me?
Yo, Don, could you like sound out the words better and like go read slower because it's too brilliant.
True advocates of religion, of freedom of religion, would advocate for enlightenment, education, and open-hearted dialogue, respectful conversations among people who disagree without judging or jockeying for power. You see
Okay.
where I'm going?
Yeah, let's take a little flashback, Don, to your meme here about the unvaccinated.
I think we have to stop coddling people when it comes to this and the vaccine, saying, oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are. The people who aided and abetted Trump are stupid because they believed his big lie. The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else? Or leave them behind. Because they are keeping the majority of Americans behind.
True freedom of religion is possible only if we honor the absolute separation of church and state. Remember I said the impetus of this book that I said on every single time I had to promote it or talk about it was the blurring or the erasing of the line between state and church. And that's what religious nationalists were doing.
Boom. He's just got it. Like, boom. I mean, he can see through the bullshit. Right?
And many of them white nationalists it's white nationalism wrapped in religious nationalism. We can have freedom of religion, or we can have a Christian nation. We can't have both. Evangelicals know this.
Why do you have to pause, Don? Like, it's not like brilliant prose here.
And it's clear which side of the narthex they're on.
Boom. Deliver it, Don.
Even evangelical zealots preach freedom of religion and practice oppression.
So I showed you that clip about him saying the anti-vax should be shamed, right? And, all this stuff. And it turned out completely wrong. We know, like, now most people know that the way that they went, I have a whole compilation I'm not going to show you of all the shit they said about anti-vaxxers. The way that they, were treated like lepers, all of us, because I was one of them. And, but that doesn't count for them, right, Don? Or any of the number of people the time you come out and say this. Like, they both do this, like both sides. They're incapable of self-perception.
They're taking a familiar page from the time-worn authoritarian playbook. It's not about faith.
Okay, so we get the idea, Jesus.
Amen. It was a revival meeting wrapped in a memorial, a political rally dressed as church. And by the end of the night, it was clear this was not only about Charlie Kirk's death. It was about his afterlife in politics.
Boom. Kaboom. You're cutting through the fucking code here, Don. You're such a truth seer.
Trump stood on the stage like a man at the center of a prophecy. He called Charlie Kirk a martyr. Other politicians promised to carry out his mission. The crowd cheered as if the passing of the man had lit some sort of sacred fire.
He's reading now.
To me, this was not mourning. This was a mobilization.
Boom. That's what I saw. I saw mobilization. That's what I saw. This wasn't morning at all. I mean, there were sparklers and shit. Like, okay, so I searched through it because this is, I mean, we can't handle all this brilliance all at once. Like, he's like, a preschooler. And he comes in with the most remedial takes. But he talks about it like he's somehow cracked the code. And he's just so clueless. Like, he is just the most clueless former journalist / YouTuber out there, right? Just unbelievably oblivious to his own bullshit. So I searched for Erika Kirk because I thought he might comment on that. But, of course, he didn't have the balls for that, right? Because she's a grieving widow. And so, like how fake that was and all the rest of it. Because, it's always just so, paint by numbers. Like, all this stuff is so paint by numbers. All the things that they're going to say, the CNN people and the left people and the right people, it's just so remedial. They never have anything, like, worth listening to. They have never anything like cutting edge. It's just like a template. They just apply the template, fold it over, and just apply their bullshit worldview that everyone knows about. Like, everyone knows that this is how they're going to react. Like, is there anybody out there that's like, oh my God, I didn't think about that? Like, these are what all his dumb, this is why they like him, because there's a bunch of dumb people that think in paint by numbers type of way. And when they when they first were exposed to this thing, if they even watched it, they would be like, yeah, this is everything Don said it is. Of course you'd say that, because you can't think for yourself, right? And you don't have the ability to see what's going on, so you just all think the same. This is like this Borg mentality, right? Okay, so I think I'm come to an end here of my things. There was a bunch of things I didn't cover. There was an Irish guy who spoke up about the atrocities the Israeli military has done to the Palestinian people, but it was mild. He did it at the UN. Nothing that, just whatever. There are a few other things I was going to cover, but they just, their time has gone by. But here, Kash Patel always looks like he's hiding a zombie bite. This is great. So he's just so weird looking with the eyes, the crossed eyes, or whatever he has. And there's all right. I don't know what Charlie Kirk meant to this whole movement. They, burned the guy, unless they could bring him back from the dead. I don't think anybody's going to believe that shit, right? I mean, they're already hemorrhaging support. Like, it plays really poorly. So they're either incapable of understanding how the American people are going to react to things. Like, they're so fucked up now because they get more and more sloppy over time. Or they just don't even care. They're just going to ramrod everything through. They don't give a shit what the American people think or how they react. I mean, it's very hard to say. But what we're waiting for here is for things to get real. Like, all these things, there's all these stories that I was going to cover today. Not today, but sometime. And they've already passed us by. And they were kind of interesting things, big things, and I just don't have time to talk about them all. But it's almost like pointless because we're not going to change anything. It might be interesting to people. But we're on a track now that until your lifestyle is affected, like, everything looks really bad and dire. But there's going to be that moment where you're like, oh, my life is never going to be the same again. And people have that in their personal lives. Like, when you have kids, like, your life's never going to be the same again. When you get married, your life's never going to be the same again. Like, there are things that happen, when you get your driver's license, like, your life's never going to be the same again. But then there are bad things where, my life's never going to be the same again. And then there's collective, and they're not necessarily bad things. I cover this, I think, in this video, if not the next one. There's just our perception. There's an intro to the next one, which is about that. That, the perception of whether something's good or bad, is pure perception. But, in terms of your lifestyle going away, like you having less, we've always had more. And at some point, America is just going to no longer be the America that everyone knew. And, it's going to change pretty drastically. And then things are like, then it's like, all right, what are we going to do now? Most people won't have an answer because they're just too fucked. Like, they're just too messed up. They're too fucked in the head. They're too, dependent on the system. They're too weak. They're, the life's energy is connected to systems. They're just going to lay down in the fetal position and wait for the angels to take them away. It's just like that's how all these things go. And, just you need to have some kind of understanding about the potential of this, or it's going to come as a complete shock. Like if you're a sheeple thinking everything's fine, and all this stuff, and so they're just throwing shit up against the wall now. Like every day it's something big, and then it's something else. It's just to keep people distracted or whatever, and then and then it'll just be like, oh yeah, guess what? We're fucked, right? We didn't tell you guys ahead of time, but we've known for a while. And, and everyone man for himself, right? Anyways, this thing with the Kirks, the story might be fading a little bit, which is, I guess, a good thing. But Turning Point USA, I mean, Charlie Kirk was never great, and he was never spiritual like the way that they say he is. You could say he's kind of religious, but he's mostly a shill for Israel. And whatever has happened to that thing now, and his wife is like, she's not even wanting to be at the front of I thought she would take over the TV show, the YouTube show, but she's already disliked. And the guy that's taken over, that guy, whatever his name, Andy or whatever his name is, that's taken over the show, I mean, that thing is just imploded. So I don't know if it was worth it for them to burn Charlie Kirk or whatever happened there, if it involves Israel, if he was turning, whatever might have happened there. But whatever they have now is just, that martyr money is only going to last. That grief money is only going to last another. It's already run out, right? Like, people have given it, and now they're just on their own as a totally less than channel, totally less than movement, and it'll just fade into the obscurity. They'll have to fire everybody and trim down to like 2 or 3 people or whatever it is. I mean, they do have an outreach program. I don't know how that's going, but either way, it's Turning Point is done. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting for the Apocalypse. And the Ascension, everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.